necessarily wrote. It's not like we're on, but like we'll just have it
Yeah,
just in
I'm
case.
not worried about it.
Okay, yeah, you're a natural. You've been doing this for a while.
I don't know about natural, but I'm not worried.
No? Why would you not
No.
say you're a natural? Oh, did you hear me?
Oh, you want me to answer that?
Oh, I was just
I
curious.
can't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think I studied how to be an extrovert since I was a little girl.
Really? So do you think you're more naturally an introvert?
I'm 100% an introvert. Yeah.
How do you balance social media being an introvert?
Yeah, it's really draining. Super draining. Yeah. I do things with intention, and I do things with intention, and I understand why I'm on the things that I'm on, or the amount of time I'm spending on each thing, or I like a lot of times I'm just thinking about, like, when I give a speech or like the workshops I did earlier today, I'm thinking about how do I want the person receiving this to feel, and how do I create that experience for them? So I just see myself as a hardcore artist. Like right now, like I'm like matching you. I'm like really like this is what I sounded like an hour ago. Welcome. Like it's just like it's a different, like it's like whatever I'm matching whatever I need to be to create whatever it is. So if this is like a chill couch experience, then I'm in like chill couch vibe with my Creator Now hoodie, like chilling, you know? But if this is like Espree, you're about to start a workshop, I would play this music that I have like set up from Epidemic Sound on my other computer, and right at the start of the thing, let's say, here it is. Right at the start of the thing, it's on that screen. I like press play, and then like that plays, and then I leave my video camera off to create an energy, and then I type something in the chat, and then like when that like gets going, oh, you probably can't hear me on the mic. So this is like what starts.
We're just getting hype.
No, at the beginning of my workshop. And then so that will play through, and then right when that's about to end, I turn the camera on, and I'm like, what's up? Welcome to today's session. Today we are going to have an amazing session. I'm so excited. I love that everybody is here. And like, it's like I just did drugs. So yeah. But like, this is just me. Like right now, I'm just.
Yeah. I guess so.
So it's like I'm an artist creating an experience of people.
Well, tell us who you are and what you're doing.
Who I am?
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you tell me who I am? I don't know. I think I'm searching for that on a daily basis.
I think we all are a little bit. I mean, yeah. maybe easier is what you do.
The purpose in my life is to create meaningful connection for others. So what I do, whether it's podcasting or building a tech company or producing an event, like my end aim is to create meaningful connection for others. So that's what I do. And the medium that, you know, the paintbrushes I use and the platforms that I utilize to express my art, or they can change. It's just the purpose stays the same, but the technology and the platforms may shift.
And what platforms are you currently pursuing?
I mean, there's like a zillion, right? Same with all creators, like from you do Instagram and Twitter, and I mean, Facebook, not so much, right? So Instagram and Twitter, and you have the Zoom, and I mean, what do I built a mobile app, and then I have events, and I use Luma for events, like in-person events. And I mean, I can't even think of all the different kind of softwares and like things that I utilize on a daily basis. But I use Buffer. I love Buffer for even like Instagram stories, because that means I don't have to be on demand. I could just make myself a reminder in Buffer, but still be offline. And then when I'm ready to be on social, then I could just go to Buffer with whatever I wanted to post. So it's like this form of creative expression, but it's not being on social media.
Wait, so
Buffer is a social media scheduling tool.
Dude, I've been trying to find something like that and I haven't. That's super nice.
Yeah. So yeah. So like I just use technologies to help me with the craft, my art, my craft.
And
I love your bicycle behind you, by the way. The blue, I'm really vibing the blue, and I love the like it's super industrial and like cool and
yeah,
skateboardery.
we got
I
the
dig it.
raw basement look going on.
Yeah, but I dig it. It's like aesthetically it's really cool.
Thank you. People are either like that or they're like, what?
Yeah.
Why did you take me to a creepy basement?
No,
But
I dig it.
awesome.
It's my vibe.
I know that you had a like a startup right out of college, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zech Sports. I had an action sports social network. It was amazing.
So
Yeah.
how did you get into doing, like, you're taking on this insane projects, like you're the what do you call yourself? You call yourself
The
like the
girl that
girl
gets it done.
who gets it done.
Yeah.
How did you evolve from yourself as like a, a young like teenager or whatever, I'm sure, and
Yeah.
then you just all of a sudden, or not all of a sudden, but over a course of a decade, you're like, you get the thing done no matter what. Like, where was that personal journey with you?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it started in junior high school. I just started a school magazine in junior high, and then I was an editor of my school paper in high school. I feel like it's just my personality type that I've always been just really interested in things and figuring out how to get things done. Whether I moved internationally at 15, and that was just me like reading a bunch of research on how to make that happen. And I'm always been really curious on how do I create the reality that I want to live in, and how do I invent my world? Like my since I was a little girl, I just thought about like inventing my world, and I still do that. And it's about really knowing who I am in that inventing process, because as I change, um like I really enjoy like not networking. Like just doing my own thing, spending my time with my friends. And before, I really loved like going to all the conferences and everything, right? So how do I change what I create depending on like how I've changed personally, so that I'm living a life that's authentic to me instead of trying to be who I was yesterday?
I think that I was talking to somebody who did YouTube, like
Yeah.
pretty significantly, and they were saying that that's one of the struggles that they had, that made them leave social media, is that as you evolve, that their audience wasn't as accepting of like change
Yeah,
as they
of
were,
change. Yeah.
because they came to that place on the internet for a specific thing, and then you're not it
Yeah.
anymore, and they're like,
Yeah, like
eh,
if you become a vegan or something, or like you're not a
yeah,
vegan anymore,
that's
everybody
it.
was like, no, you have to stay a vegan forever. You know?
That's part of what it was, like, actually,
Yeah.
like she was
Yeah.
vegan, and then she's like, oh shoot, what do I do
Yeah.
now? I don't.
Yeah.
And now then she went
Yeah.
into a big kind of spiral with figuring that out, and she said it took
100%.
her like a year or something to like come
100%.
out to her
Yeah.
audience. It's crazy.
100%.
But
It's crazy. I feel like I'm lucky in the sense that I don't know if this is lucky. It's just again intention. I lead really vulnerably. So what you see is what you get. And so like as I change, I just continue to share that vulnerable journey. So I think most people follow me because they're inspired by my vulnerability, or feel it's relatable, or they want to learn about podcasting, or they want to be plugged into something in the tech world. So I think like if I stop doing tech, I think if I stopped doing tech and I stopped doing podcasting, I think people would still be just want to like follow along and like what I'm up to, because I'm just so vulnerable about how I'm going about life.
I would say the one thing that has been, I mean, that's very admirable, and I'm not discrediting it at all, right? But this is just like
Yeah.
the contrary, is like,
Yeah.
one thing that I've personally struggled with is like when you're so authentic, and
Yeah.
then you don't get the result you're looking for, or something underperforms. How do you personally navigate that not being an attack on yourself because you were so vulnerable and it still didn't perform how you thought it would?
Because I don't do things for performance. Like I don't look at stats or analytics, or I'm
You
not.
don't look at any analytics?
No. And I can't stand that like Instagram tries to force you to look at analytics like right when opening the app. So I have changed the way I utilize things so I don't see things, because I think it's a really unhealthy way to
Really?
be. So like um yeah, I'm not like the times in my life where I like post something hoping it's going to create something. It's always such an emotional like catastrophe. I I just want to be an artist and share what I share and be creative and be me. And like whatever happens is gonna happen. Like regarding like gain eyeballs and stuff. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm trying to be myself. Like, and I just want to
Mm.
invent a world. I'm really not trying to be famous. It's actually a problem. Not a problem, just like I'm in a very public profession, so I'm trying to figure out like what does that mean to me. But the as long as I have a sustainable lifestyle where like I can live, I can eat, I can do the thing, I can travel, I backpack a lot. I could do the things that make me happy. Like I don't need millions of people around the world following me. I just need to build a smart company where I have the lifestyle that nourishes me most. And you could do that with 1,000 human beings as long as you form like a really genuine, meaningful connection with 1,000 humans and you offer them something that they actually want, that, you know? So yeah, however, I do notice Instagram really likes my when I journal on Instagram, which I find funny. So yeah,
Huh.
but no, I don't
There's
post things. Like I don't know what my stories have gotten like in the past week.
Huh. Because it's like the opposite of like a traditional YouTuber or whatever, like Mr. Beast, like you're
Yeah, but I don't consider myself an influencer or a
okay.
YouTuber,
So you consider yourself an artist.
an artist. Yeah. Like my art is human connectivity.
Wow. I don't know if I've quite met anyone quite like you.
I don't know if
That's
that's a
pretty,
good thing or bad thing.
I think that's a good thing. That means you're unique. You're one of a kind here. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. So with, as humans, we have this, goal of like a growth mindset, right? And so one thing that I think that is good about the analytics or the analyzing like your content or whatever, I guess, would be that you can see what people like and what people don't like, or maybe where you're personally performing poorly or
Yeah,
well.
agree.
And so
Yeah.
like
How do I gauge that?
how do you
So
gauge that, because you're not getting the objective criticism that is an analytic and still
But see,
maintaining
the
your
thing is
business?
that yeah, but the thing that you also get rewarded for in digital is like controversy and scandal. And so like let's say like XYZ YouTuber, I'm not going to say name because that's just
Sure,
negative energy, but like XYZ drama, a drama YouTuber,
sure.
like post something so they get millions because drama does really well or something. Like are you now more successful as a human that you have spread negativity into the world and maybe false lies about what is even really going on just in order to get views? Because if you're just going off of the views, technically you're successful, but I don't think you're being successful. Like I was listening to, I don't know if you know the podcast Mom's Basement.
Mm-mm.
Do you know that one?
No.
It's what it's the guy who owns the gaming network. I'm like totally spacing. They all have the same like sounds to their names. I can't.
Like
It's like the
Nintendo?
no. I'm telling like
No.
oh my gosh, I'm such a dork right now. Like the I can't think of it. Anyway, everybody listening is totally gonna know. Like it's I gotta think of
GameStop?
Phase Banks. You know Phase Banks,
Oh,
right? Phase.
oh,
Everyone's
okay.
a phase. That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
Okay.
I was like,
Okay. Phase this, phase that, whatever. Anyway, Phase Banks. He's the co-host of Mom's Basement, a podcast. And he's been like involved in a lot of scandal and this and kind of that, but I was listening to a podcast episode recently, and his co-host was kind of bad mouthing some people, like just doing the whole, it's actually the guy who hosts Drama Alert, so it's very on brand for him.
Oh,
So he was Keemstar. So Keemstar was like bad mouthing some people, being dramatic. And FaZe Banks was like, I don't know, I think they're a good person, or I don't really know them, so I can't say something. And Keemstar just kept trying, and FaZe Banks just kept like not feeding into the drama. I just really admired that. I mean, I don't know the guy, but I just really appreciated that he was like, I'm not going to pick up what you're putting down. I get that like salacious stuff creates views, but I'm just not trying to have that kind of attention anymore, you know? So I think that like just looking at analytics and views, just for the sake of analytics and views, it's just not a really great indicator to tell the full picture, because you could have tons of that if you create the right kind of drama or negativity and all this kind of stuff. Now, related to knowing which podcast is doing well and this and that, like I'm an artist. I want to create my art. So why am I going to modify my creative expression because of an algorithm? Like it's not the creative expression that needs to be modified. It's the business model behind which I'm doing so that I could sustain expressing myself in a creative way. So do I have a core fan base of 1,000 people paying me for XYZ that makes sense? Because if I have my bills covered, I don't need a million eyeballs. What if those million eyeballs wouldn't pay me for anything? So what's the point? Then maybe my business model is an advertiser. So now the advertiser cares about my million eyeballs, and what do they, depending on what my business model is, that's what has influence over my art and modifies things. And so for me, my main goal is making sure to create a business model that is really in alignment with who I am. So I feel like I'm always sharing my art in the way I want to share it. Does that make sense? Very wordy.
No, I you're good. It does make sense. It's a counterculture to the popular social media style we got going on right now, which usually the counterculture movement works in a lot of ways. Like you see like the, like if you can, even in like success level, like if you see a Mr. Beast video compared to like a doctor just sitting in front of his camera just giving you the facts, like sometimes they'll get similar amount of results, because why would you want a doctor to be talking like Mr. Beast, and why would you want Mr. Beast to be talking like you're just like a different audience, right? And so I think you're attracting like a more true fan to you, which I think is probably the better way to go about things.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong. Like what Mr. Beast is doing is amazing. He's doing so much philanthropic work. I really respect and appreciate, but I, in my own journey, have no desire to be like that kind of famous and that kind of like digitally everywhere. Like he has an entirely different business model, and he's building his art. Like he's obsessed with YouTube. That's his essentially YouTube itself is his art. And so he's like, I need to make this work in my way, which for him is like Google Ads and brand deals and building these businesses based on having millions of people. He could just pop up a hamburger shop or chocolate bars and have all these customers, like because he has the millions of people. I'm not looking to have a restaurant. I'm not looking to sell merch. It's like business model just needs to match your art.
So what are you looking to have?
I mean, the direct answer is I just want to be happy on a daily basis. It's like I'm doing it. Like I'm not like searching. Yeah.
What?
I'll tell you what I'm looking not to have. I'm looking not to modify my life based on what society says I should do. So my MO is constantly like, how am I gonna, and like I mentioned this earlier, like how am I gonna continuously create my own life so that it matches my ideals, how I see the world, how I feel comfortable. Like this is my life. I'm gonna die with me. Why am I gonna be living for someone else?
So you were mentioning earlier, you have these like talks you were doing earlier today, and like in general, is that is the message of like be yourself till you die, like is that something that the audience of these talks kind of hold on to?
I think so. I think it's also really tricky. I've taken a lot of risks in my life because of the way I see, which other people who are more risk adverse, maybe they wouldn't feel comfortable taking those risks. I don't have a 9 to 5 job. I think, I feel a lot of compassion. If you're working for Nike right now, your identity is representing the Nike brand. So you can't necessarily be vulnerable on your Instagram because technically your identity is associated with Nike. So I make conscious choices of opportunities that I may be like missing out on in order to choose to be authentic because that feels more comfortable for me in full picture.
And what are the what are you giving to the audience when you do these talks? Like what is the main message that you're spreading?
I don't have a main, I mean, I guess the main message is believe in yourself, I suppose. That's the message that I'm sharing with everybody. But like everything is different. The talks I gave today and yesterday are all about like, I mean, essentially about creating a podcast, but really what they're
Mm.
about, I mean, really what they're about is believing in yourself because like that, yeah, so I'm glad you asked. At the end of the, it's not for me, it's not really like you showed up because you want to have a podcast and you think I'm the person that could tell you how to have a podcast, but what my MO for you is just believe in yourself. Yeah.
Oh. I guess that
At least the ones today and yesterday. I mean, people show up for all reasons. When I've given talks abroad, usually they want me to talk about how I built the Los Angeles tech community. Other people want me to talk about like social media's business strategy, which I don't talk on that anymore because the world just doesn't, I just don't think the world needs that. But that was one of the things that I used to be booked for a lot. Being an entrepreneur, just, whatever they see that I have experience in, like usually they, depending on the event, they'll book me for a specific, angle.
Oh, so are you talking in front of like high schools or something, or like is it
Usually it's to corporations and business
corporate?
people. I have taught, I have spoken at high schools, but it's not very often.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you did that.
It's okay. I don't really publicize it.
No. Awesome. What is like what's something that you think is holding you back from being the best version of you, and like how are you moving forward through it and like evolving
Yeah.
through it?
I love that question. I mean, what's holding me back is myself. It's the same for all of us. Like I'm holding myself back. So the more that I work on myself, the more I'll move forward. Um, my North Star for 2022 is self-love. So every day, all day long, very conscientiously, I'm focusing on like, what does it mean to love myself? How can I love myself more today? Um, I think that by December, I will be an absolutely different person than I am today because of that. I'm already seeing how my brain is adapting and changing, and it's really exciting. And it's been extremely hard. Like my brain like doesn't want to change. Like because I've formed bad habits. I actually call them sad habits. I
Oh,
formed like set. Well, we all have. Well,
yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
know
say
what you
all.
mean.
It's
Yeah.
like if you're like if you like had an exam, right? And after the exam, you think you like messed up the exam. And you're like, fuck, I messed up. Like, da da da. I can't believe I did that. Da, da, da. Why don't I give up? And then you start with this like, tirade against yourself. Instead of just being like, had a lot going on. I'm not there in my life yet. Like, how can I learn from this? Am I a person who even cares about exams? If the answer is yes, okay, how do I want to change my life so that I perform in exams the way I want to? Or if the answer is no, I don't care about exams, it's like, well, then I'm going to give myself permission to let go because that element of life is just not important to me. So it's like sad habits, I feel, are the stories that we've told ourselves for the majority of our life that don't really serve what we'd like for ourselves. But we're so used to telling ourselves the same thing, like that it's like a script and we just do it on default. And so I just am envisioning all the time exactly how I want to treat myself and who I want to be and what kind of people I want to attract into my life. And I'm asking myself all day long, every day, like, is every action I'm taking, is how I'm communicating it, are the boundaries that I'm setting leading to being that person that I aspire to be, and to rewire my brain. Like, even things as simple, do you wake up and meditate, or do you wake up and check your text messages? And if you've spent the last 2 years waking up and checking your text messages, but you're like, no, I really want to be a person who like starts the day meditating, it's not going to be easy, because your brain wants to grab the phone to check a text. You have trained yourself with a sad habit, you know? And now you're going to go on this quest to retrain your brain to be like, I want to meditate first thing, and not have it be a struggle. Yeah.
In what steps have you found within yourself that have been the most effective? Like if somebody was like, I want to do one thing to get me going, what do you think that'd be?
I mean, the very first thing is believe in yourself. Like, even if you don't believe, like, start that journey to believing in yourself. To getting things going, just like in life, or how do you mean?
Just like how do you, what's like a good first step to starting to lose a sad habit?
Mm. I mean, this is like kind of heavy and complex, so I don't think it really addresses the question enough. But it's to become really honest with who you are and what you want. And I think to become honest with who you are and what you want is really difficult, because you really have to do the work to like see yourself. And sometimes we're not there yet to be courageous enough to see who we really are, like truly, really are. And until we have a strong self-awareness, it's hard to make changes, because typically we're blaming it on something else and we're not aware that we're creating our own reality.
Mm. I
So
think that,
like, let's say I'm a person that's like late to everything. I actually am. Like, it's a problem. But I don't want to be a person who is late to everything. I first have to become like aware of like, what am I do, like, who am I, what am I doing, and why am I late? Like, let's get like really real on like why I have that outcome. Because the next guy that's like on time to everything, there, I mean, I could be that person, they could be me, like, it's just, so is it because a lot of people say I'm a late person, and so that's not self-awareness. That's like you've decided to write it off and just be that.
mm,
If I desire to be an on-time person for reasons like I want people to feel respected by me, and I know that my natural tendency is to be late to everything, how am I going to make changes in my life and start to rewire myself so that I become an on-time person
I like that.
or early person?
Or
That
an
would be
early
better.
person. I think what's what can be difficult in balancing that, like that truth with yourself, is if you don't have a strong sense of where your self-worth comes from. And since
Mm,
like you seem
yeah.
so firm in your belief set and you're going after this thing, like where do you derive your self-worth from?
Mm. I don't think I have a lot of self-worth yet. That's what I'm working on for 2022. I think I have a lot of confidence in my vulnerability. And I think it seems like that projects as self-worth, but I wouldn't have the thoughts that I have so often if I or have had like the bad relationships or whatever if I had a strong sense of self-worth. That stuff would have never happened.
Hmm. Huh. What what is something that has truly inspired you in the last month?
It's funny. Speaking of self-worth, in the past 24 hours, I've really inspired me.
Oh, really?
um, yeah, I kicked off this thing and it's extremely successful, and I've done it all myself, and I'm just really impressed with what I've been able to accomplish. Um, what really inspires me?
Well, what did you accomplish?
I wanted to do, I was really afraid of like, so I'm a podcaster
Hmm.
and I have editors, and I've been wanting to do this project for, I don't know, over a year. And I just haven't done. And every team meeting we have every week, I'm asking my editors like their thoughts back and forth. And after a year, they're like, "It's for you. Just got to do the thing." Like I'm like, "Ah, but I'm so afraid. What if it's not good enough? Da da da. All this stuff." They're like, just do it, okay? Like stop asking us every week and talking about it, just do it. So I kicked off the thing, not knowing if it would succeed or not, not knowing what I was doing or what it meant. And it ended up right now 95 people signed up to my thing, which is like 95 people just in the ether. So
Wow.
bizarre to me, across 22 countries,
What?
and all of them are blown away by what I've been doing for them, which makes me feel so great. And they're all constantly posting on social media how like blown away they are by me. I'm just like, what is happening? This is crazy, you know? And when I first started doing the thing, like I was just totally scared. The night before it started, I like couldn't sleep because I was afraid of like failing and letting people down. And like, so I'm just like, and so to see all these like social media posts, like talking about, it's just like so, and people are like, oh my gosh, why are you only doing this for a month? Like, I don't want it to go away. I was like, really? Why? Like, like, that's so crazy.
Wait, did you say what exactly it was?
No,
Or
I'm
or do you
doing
want
a
to keep
cohort.
a
No, it's fine. I'm
cohort?
doing a cohort is like a live interactive class, and I don't really believe in
Oh,
like it's Creator Now. Creator Now is a
yeah.
cohort. Yeah. So I don't really believe in like, I don't know. I'm just allergic to courses, like normal courses where you like log in and you see a bunch of videos. I don't know. I just feel like everybody's trying to make money off of other people. I don't
Mm.
think there's a lot of ethics in it. And so a lot of people ask me how to podcast because I've been podcasting for so long. And and I was, so I just wanted to do a thing, but I didn't want it to be a course. And I really believe in creating experiences. And to me, this project is my creative expression. It's my art. So I'm like, okay, what does this look like? What does it mean? What elements does it have? So I just started taking notes on every last thing I could think of. I started taking notes on, and then I've now created this world for these 95 people that they seem to be overjoyed by. Um, it's really amazing because I was so scared. Yeah. I'm
That
still scared. Like the most recent thing I learned about myself was the other day on a Zoom call, I asked them a question and no one said anything for like a second. And I started freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, what if nobody's going to talk? I started freaking out in my head. And then after like a few seconds, like someone said something and I was just like, yo, Espree, you need to calm down. Like just, and so now when I say something in my head, I count to five. I go 5, 4, 3. I like allow people space to like process their thoughts. But immediately when that initially happened, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm failing. You know, didn't even allow
you're
a
not
second to go
failing.
by. I already went to like the failing, sad habit. I was
Wow.
just like,
Why are we ingrained to do that? It's it's crazy that we begin doubting ourselves upon like any empty space.
anything. And what's funny is like, so I have this thought immediately that I'm failing, which makes my tone of voice then change to like sort of like angry because I don't want to be failing. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, so I remember saying, and this is what kind of like woke me up. I remember being like, I'm like, nobody has anything to say or something. I said something in a really like kind of like, it wasn't that bad. That's pretty exaggerating, but like not a like warm fuzzy tone. It was like a panic kind of undertone.
Mm.
And I was like, yo, I need to chill. That's not a good experience. That's not human connection. That's not like loving. That's not like creating an energy by having this like, aren't you going to talk? Like who wants that kind of like vibe ever?
Mm.
So and then when someone started to say something, I'm like, people need time to process. Like I'm not allowing space for people to process that I just asked a question and now not everybody could just, I've been a podcaster interviewing people for so many years. It's really natural to me to be able to just pick up questions like without thinking. And I don't consider that I've been doing this for so long. I don't stop to think about I've mastered a skill. For me, I'm just still an awkward dork that is super uncomfortable in like group situations, you know, like that's my self-image. So like, so when I'm doing this thing and no one responds right away, immediately I thought I was failing. And then my voice changed to panic. And then, so now I created this new thing in the last 24 hours of counting. And I've taught a lot more sessions in the past 24 hours. So like, it's totally worked. Like people have spoken within the 5-second countdown. Like, oh, thank goodness. You know?
Wow. Wow, I mean, that's confidence booster right there. That's super cool. You're like literally taking, like, you failed in a way, and then you just were like, no, boom, and then now you're like succeeding, just like in like.
But I didn't even fail. That was like a sad habit. That was a false perception.
It was a false failure. Wow.
No, I didn't fail at all. There was nothing failing about it. Like I just didn't allow people space to talk, you know?
Well, I guess you need to allow people to talk.
No, so like if we sometimes think we're doing something wrong, maybe like there's just a different way to perceive the situation. Like someone sent me a message the other day and immediately I got angry because of like how I perceive the message, and I talked and because I have such a strong intent of like wanting to have a positive self-love mindset, I was like, okay, this is not a good energy to like hold on to. So I called my friend. I was like, hey, will you help give me a mental reframe on the situation? Because like I immediately went to anger. That's not where I want. I'm trying to change my habits. So I told him the situation. He's like, well, what if the person wasn't saying what you're perceiving they're saying? What if they were saying this? He's like, you could. And I was like, oh, didn't even occur to me, you know, to see it in that way. Because I have my own BS going on, my own goggles of how I see the world and the people that have hurt me. And, you know, like we all do. And then, so we see these situations that happen to us. Like later today in like a couple hours, I have to pick someone up. Now, let's say they were a little bit late. Like I just wouldn't care. But let's say I'm a person who like, I don't know, has some issue with that. All of a sudden that exact same situation would be awful for someone else because they would be like, why isn't that person on time? They don't respect me. Maybe I should never be with them again. Why did I even show up in the first? But all these like angry things. Now for me, I mean, I just don't, it's fine. So I'll show up if the person's there or not there. Like I'll just wait. If they're not, I'll be like, hey, I'm outside. Like it's like no big deal.
Yeah.
So we all interact with life dependent on like all of our previous situations. It's a lot. Like the human layer is just, I don't know how people like date and all this. Like it's just so like humans are a lot. Like we have so many layers and we're all so different. Yeah.
I heard my friend, or my friend told me, he was saying how humans are constantly striving to like control our environment and like be safe and like have this. And then we also are striving to do like the most chaotic thing imaginable, and is that to have a relationship with other people, because you cannot possibly control it. Yet we still have this
100%.
just desire for it.
Yeah.
And it's confusing. Like, what are we like, why are we making it harder for ourselves? Like,
totally. My mom said this really funny thing. All of a sudden, my mom's all into basketball. It's super weird. And my mom said this really funny. My parents are divorced, and my mom said this really funny thing like a few weeks ago. She's like, thank goodness I don't have something. I could finally watch basketball. I was like, why didn't you just watch basketball before? She's like, your father would never let me watch basketball. I was like, that's so wild to me. First of all, I don't know if that's true, but like, it's wild that people like want to control their situations or feel like we have to adapt and do something that we really not do something we really like because of, it's just so like, can we all just like, be honest with what our needs are? If my mom wanted to watch basketball when she was married, she should have just watched basketball. I don't see what the big issue was, you know?
I don't even know what the issue could be. Like,
well, maybe my dad didn't like basketball or wanted her time to go elsewhere. Like it's to what you're saying that we all want to control someone else.
Oh.
Because we want them to adapt to our world.
We do.
So like in relationships, two people, it's like one person wants you to do their world, the other person wants you to do their world. It's like, who wins?
I guess that even kind of goes into a little bit of like gender role even. Like, you know, like
Mhm.
it's like do you feel that kind of pressure to just it abide to what the man says because it's like that's kind of like could be a role in the relationship almost? Because like I feel like there
Y
is a little bit
yeah.
like there's a um submissive dominance kind of thing in like a stereotypical like male female relationship, you know?
Mhm.
And maybe that was oppressive to your mother. I don't know. But I mean that's generalization.
Yeah, no, my mom's always been a go-getter, so that wouldn't have been it. But she but, I think that people should be more honest of just what their needs are in a relationship and not try to alter it into, and everyone could have a different set of needs, that you could have a more dominant role, you could have a more passive role, you could whatever it is that each person wants for themselves, but just be honest, not to like try to like trick the other person to get them to like you or to pacify the other person. Like we all just need to be like, this is me, and here's my negotiables, here's my non-negotiables. Let's talk about it. When we get into a conflict, let's talk about it. I mean, doesn't MGK say that? Let's talk about it.
That reminded me
Um,
because like my girlfriend she she and her mother still are like in like the transition from I'm a kid to I'm an adult kind of thing,
yeah,
you
that's
know?
tough.
And so her mother just wants to, you know, like she's a loving mother and she wants to like coddle her and like be like, oh, you
Yeah.
can't do this because, you know, like my level of security with what you can do is here. And then she's like, well, I want to go here. And then she's like,
Yeah.
no, 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 come back here. This it's safe here. We proved it. And then you keep
Yeah.
having to like constantly bring it
Yeah.
up higher and higher. So we were
Totally.
like, we went out, we drove to she lives in Arizona, we drove to Mexico, and then which is only like 4 hours or something. It's like
Yeah.
not that big of a deal. But then she like sends her like a text, like her mother sends my girlfriend a text like,
Yeah.
oh, like why did you do that? It's not safe. And she, you can't do that again, okay? And she's like, I'm gonna only get older. Like I'm like I kind of am gonna do it again. Like what do you want
Yeah.
me to submit here?
Yeah.
And it's a
Or sometimes you could just see that the person is saying that because they love you. And so to just be like, Mom, like, I am so grateful how much you love and want to protect me. It makes me feel like amazing that you love me that much.
mm,
Because if she's an adult, she could do whatever she wants. And
yeah.
and to have an argument of like what one person wants versus what, so instead just address the positive that her mom really loves her, and that's dope.
Huh. How would you recommend maybe to like you say that and then but how do you like get your, you know, little teeth like you're like, well, I love you, mom, but like just a little.
I, I think it's about letting someone else be who they need to be and not trying to control them.
Mm,
If that's the way her mom needs to communicate, she should just do her, but like your girlfriend can also do herself, which is mean maybe she pulls back, maybe she doesn't call as much because, and I think being really honest about it. I had a conversation with my mom the other day. My mom is very extroverted and
mm-hmm.
theatrical and all this stuff, and I'm hardcore working on rewiring my brain. Like it's just like my MO. And sometimes my mom will like tell these like dramatic stories when I see her, and they're like sometimes like negative, like the security guard guy pissed her off, so she's like telling me this whole story about the security, whatever, right? So I was like, I just had a really like sincere heart to heart. I didn't know how my mom would receive it. I didn't even know if she'd understand me because she's so different than I am. But I was like, Mom, I have what I call sad habits, and I'm really working on them because I really want to rewire my brain so I could enjoy my life more. And I notice when we get together, you share a lot of these stories that kind of like lean onto like a little bit of like darker things. I don't remember the word I used. And it makes it harder for me to rewire my brain if I'm absorbing that type of information. Like, I wanted to let you know that this is something that I'm working on this year that's really important because I really want to enjoy my life more. And so, like, could we talk about things that were maybe, more empowering? And and I was really surprised. She's like, "Oh, I totally get it. Yeah, it's fine." She's like, "I have other girlfriends that I could like gripe about the stuff about."
Yeah, it is amazing, like what you surround yourself with, the energy you surround yourself, the people, the conversation is going to just change who you are. Because like when you
Yeah,
fall into like a bad day where you're like, I just kind of feel mopey and I want to like lay around,
totally.
and then everything feels harder, everything just feels sadder, like nothing gives you as much
Totally.
joy. You're like, I'm not even in I'm like the slave to my mind instead of the master right now.
Totally. Totally. I mean, even like the security guard thing. She tells me the story about the security guard. I love my mom. I'm really protective of my mom. So now I'm mad at the security guard. Like, you know what I mean? And now I'm going to be mad at something else because now I have mad energy. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a good recipe to like, I want to have an abundant, gratitude focused light mindset. There's these people who like mistreated me these conference organizers who mistreated me a while ago, and I heard they were doing something that was really classless again. And so I'm like, I was like, they're creating such dark energy, and I'm creating dark energy by even thinking about it, by even like being like those people are assholes. Like that's dark
Mm,
energy just for me to say that about someone else instead of just like let people be who they are. I was like, okay, how am I going to adapt this? So I called a few friends. I'm like, these people like did something that was like really not cool a while ago, really disrespectful. Like, how do I communicate that in a way that is healthy, So I asked a few of, because they're business people, so I asked a few business executives that I know. And I think what I may do is I may just send them a message like, "Hey, we worked in the industry together for several years, and I've never really felt appreciated by you," or something vulnerable
mm,
and authentic. So I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do it or if I'm going to do it that way. But the goal is to do something to become a person who is like sending out positivity and light and letting other people be who they are, whether they choose to be assholes or not. Like I can't control them. But like by me like holding on to like these assholes, they like, like that's just
mm,
negative. Like it doesn't hurt them, and it doesn't do anything good for me. And then I go into my other conversations throughout the day or my other activities with this like negative sprinkles, and then it heightens the possibility that I'll attract more negativity. But if I go about my day being like, those people are not great people to work with, I'm going to make the conscious decision. I mean, I pretty much already did a while ago, but to like not associate with them. I'm going to let them know my truth so I don't feel like I've been silenced or something.
mm,
Whether they choose to respond positively or negatively is out of my control. But at least I'm going to show up as a person of light, of authenticity, and just leave it out there. And then I'm not going to address it again. You know what I mean?
mm.
So I think, yeah, like I said, even in the beginning of chatting, is like we create our reality. And like any kind of negativity we plant in our reality just stems more negativity. So I want to plant as much light, unicorn sparkles as possible.
Wow, because I actually, it reminds me of a situation that I was in like legitimately is this was yesterday. It was with my mother. Is like we were driving to go drop off a car that, or no, we
Yeah.
were picking up a car from the shop. It's like one of those where you have
Yeah.
to take two people and then you have to split up
Yeah.
and take the cars back. And so she so we were going and I had something like vulnerable I wanted to tell her, and then I like start talking to her, but she
Yeah.
was just like in this mindset like, oh, I got to get to work, or I got to pick up this car, and it cost me like $200, like all this. And
Yeah.
I'm like trying to talk to her because I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah.
an intimate moment, we're in the same space.
Yeah.
And then we like, as soon as that happens, like I'm like talking to her, and then I missed like one turn. She's like, "Yeah, oh my God." She starts screaming
Yeah.
at me like, you missed a turn, that might have been purposeful. I was like, what are you, purposeful? I just missed a
Yeah.
turn. And she was screaming
Yeah.
at me. And then I we ended up getting there, and she like kind of berated me for like 5 minutes, and then was just silent. We show up, she's like, thanks for the ride, just like slams the door, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like,
Wow.
what do I do? And
Yeah.
so I like went to go back in and see if she had gotten the car already, because I needed like 2 minutes in the car of my own.
Yeah.
Like, I need to
Yeah.
process. She
Yeah.
already left. So I was like, huh. And so I sent her a text message, and I was just like, I'm sorry that I missed the turn. Should have been more considerate of your time. I'm sorry that maybe I delayed you getting out of the house. And I love you. And then she's
Yeah.
like, and then she responds like an hour later, and she's like, I'm sorry too. I love you.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah,
talk about what you
exactly.
wanted to talk about more later. And I was like, whoa, maybe
Yeah.
that's a better way. Because like I could have just been like, no, screw you, mom.
Yeah,
And then
totally.
what have that done? You know?
Totally.
Nothing,
Totally.
right?
Totally. It's hard though. We have to take our egos out of communication and just, and like I said, even related to your girlfriend, is just like see people for like where their intent may be. Like if you don't like what you're hearing, like the intent with your mom could have been she's really stressed about being late to something that which has like nothing really to do with you, but she's stressed about being late because it means something to her career or whatever, who knows. But like people's intent, let's hope more often than not, isn't negative. So if whatever came out happens to be negative, like we could just perceive it however then we want to perceive it. So like there was one person, a really nice person, or at least the intent of being nice, but giving me a lot of like, I don't know what to call it, like demands or something lately. I don't know. It wasn't like bad. It was just like, okay. Like, and so consistently I would just respond, I really appreciate how much you care. Like, it's like amazing. Because it's true. Like I know this person enough to know that they're very like what they're saying. It may not be useful to me, but like they're saying it because they really care. So even though the thing that they're saying is just not useful, like the intent is like, I really care about you. So I'm just responding to the intent rather than to the thing. Because if I respond to the thing, I'd be like, that's so stupid. I don't need that. Like, you know, and then that person's going to be like, well, F you. I'm not going to help you anymore. Or I don't know. You know, it's just aggressive back and forth.
That's so, because that reminds me of something else. Is like I was talking to my friend last night, and we were talking like her dad is also still like, her dad is like the kind of like hold you back, like want to comfort you, coddle you kind of thing. And it's like she wanted to drive back home for the weekend, like across state borders or straight state lines or something. And her dad's like, absolutely not. Do you know what are on these roads? Like there could be ice. I'm like, it's like 60 degrees out, Dad. Like, what are you talking about? It's like stuff like that. And I guess it's what you were saying is where shoot.
It's like her dad's speaking from a place of wanting to protect her.
Yes, that's it is. Thank you. So like her dad is like I love you this much and I want to show how much I love you, and it's like, Dad, this isn't helping, but like I still want to go, you know?
Yeah. And if you're an adult, the beauty is you don't have to like, you could just go.
But then it's usually like your family, you know?
It gets
hard.
Tricky.
People have like because there's this obligation to love your family, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously you want to love your family. Yeah. And it's hard. Maybe like it's probably a good test for the world, is being able to love your family, because given like the diversity of like one group of like 30 people that could be your family, there's going to be some people that are just in the opposite corners in different areas of life as you are. And being able to bridge that gap and have good, effective communication and still love them, even though that they think differently than you, is probably going to make you give you a better toolkit to be able to interact with those people in the future and just have like a wider sense of self. Like I can move in different directions. I'm not only limited in my own personal like limited like construction of self, like my self identity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're getting deep.
we're getting so deep.
So deep. It's good. It serves my little introverted heart.
Man, how do you fight off doubt?
Mm. I have it like all the time. I mean, this year I fight off doubt by having, self-love be my North Star because it's a priority.
Mm,
Um, I think the more that it's like a combination, the more that we love ourselves and the more that we just allow a journey to be a journey rather than trying to chase an outcome. Like even the thing we were talking about earlier with the likes or the engagement, that's an outcome, like chasing an outcome. That's not living. So as long as we do the in between, the journey, and we appreciate the journey, because imagine like YouTuber Tanner Fox, he talked about this a bit. Like he got a lot of money really fast, like really young, and as being a YouTuber. And then he got really sad because he's like, so I have all of it now. Now what? And so sometimes there's just something really beautiful about like the process of like building on building on building on building. And then in a situation like Tanner Fox, I would imagine he probably had to like have a different like outcome so he could restart a new journey because that he doesn't need money because he got all that already. So the end goal can't be money anymore. So now like what's the new
uh,
path to like, so it's the journey of whatever the aspiration is that's actually the good part, the end, like getting there, and now you're like, and now what? I'm here.
yeah, you have to pick a goal that's like in a way you have to pick a goal that's unattainable, or
Well,
like
that would be frustrating as you want to attain it before you die, I feel like.
yeah, but like you know what I'm saying? Like he's like, oh, I want this certain sense of financial wealth or financial security or
Yeah.
freedom, and then if you get it, then it's like, oh my God. But what you were saying is like you have this big why right now, like your North Star is like, you know, getting rid of sad habits and like,
Yeah.
loving yourself essentially.
Yeah.
And like because like you can never really love yourself too much, right? Or like you can't like believe
Well,
in your
okay, totally. That's what I was afraid of. I have almost proactively not loved myself because I'm so afraid of being seen as like narcissistic, or
mm.
and a true narcissist would never even worry if they were narcissistic. So it's like my therapist says that like there's no way you're narcissist, like you question it too much, But like narcissistic or like greedy or like boastful, or I don't know, I was so afraid that if like I had love for myself then I would be something gross, rather than just like these 95 people that I attracted into my life. I feel pretty confident that the reason I attracted them in my life is because of my North Star. Like these 95 people are so bizarrely kind and like collaborative and supportive and like all these, I'm like, what, how did I find 95 people around the world that are all similar to me? Like it does, like there are a ton of assholes that exist. How did they not end up in the 95? Like I don't understand what's going on, and I think it's because my vibration for, and I know that sounds very LA hokey, but like my vibration for like self-love and positivity and like reframing my mind is so strong that like I sent out like a wave to all the people in the world, and then I attracted all those same people that are vibing my energy because it's incredible. So um yeah, I don't even remember what the original question was, but did you ask me about self-doubt? No, now I don't remember what that was, an
Yes, it
old
was
question.
self-doubt. It was fighting
Yeah.
self-doubt.
Yeah, so I I think that all of it is just this I was very afraid to love myself because I didn't want to become egotistical. I didn't want to become cocky. I didn't want to become a narcissist. I didn't understand that loving myself could mean sending out a certain signal to attract certain people into my life. I didn't understand that it could mean feeling really energized with everything that I do. I didn't understand it could mean enjoying my headspace more. I didn't understand it could mean feeling more calm. Like I thought by loving myself abundantly, I would become a person I didn't like. I didn't understand that it had nothing to do with that kind of stuff.
That's wow, our mind trying to defeat us there.
Yeah.
Because like
And
if
thank
you
goodness I finally gave in. I forget what happened. Something happened like at the end of last year that I was just like, I just can't do this way anymore. I'm just like constantly chasing and struggling and frustrated and all these things. I'm like, I can't do life this way anymore. I need to have a different perspective. And that was like kind of like this awareness of just knowing I wanted a different perspective, but not knowing how to get there. And then I just started to seek it out. Like the first thing I did was I looked for an accountability buddy and like, I don't know, a bunch of stuff, you know? And now it's just like little micro steps, like all day long, every day.
and does the accountability is buddy is like, are you loving yourself today? And you just like
Actually, yeah. Like she writes me these I turned on the light. She writes me these questions. Like at the end of the day, like what would you consider was a win today? Like what did you do to make space for you today? Like so I have, and then I respond. And if I'll write something like, I feel like I was really successful professionally, but I feel extremely run down and okay, how can we look at that? What changes can we adapt? Like, so on really busy days, like, can I have like water ready next to me? Like what little small changes can I make? Oh, she helped me. Okay. All the negative messages, we got this notebook. So the front of the notebook says, "You are epic." Like I just had it and I hadn't used it. And then she had me make a criticism trash, like a self-love trash.
okay.
So like anytime I have a negative thought about myself, instead of holding it in my brain, I write it in my "You are epic," rip it out and throw it in here.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really interesting. And it's interesting how the more like I lead with gratitude for my, like the more I make gratitude like the main thing and become really conscious, the less I'm having negative thoughts.
What do you elaborate on that?
Like here, I'll pull one out. I'm scared. I have no idea what this is gonna say. My time isn't valuable is a negative thought I had. And so I wrote it down, I threw it away. What does my life look like if my time is valuable?
Huh.
So like little things like that. So I'll be on, let's say I'll be on, I mean, easy as a YouTuber, like a YouTube creator, like let's say you're on with a brand deal and they want something like for free. And then you're like, oh, well, I should do it for free because I'm like, who am I? I'm not good enough or something, right?
Yeah.
But like if there was a reframe, like why in the world would I create my art and produce and edit and all these things for a company who doesn't value my time? It doesn't even make sense. So let me work with someone who values my time because my time is valuable. But if I'm questioning whether my time is valuable and then brand deal X comes and they're like, "Oh, we'll send you t-shirts or whatever." Like I would say like, "Thank you so much for thinking of me. Unfortunately, all my arrangements are paid brand deals, but you know, thanks."
Oh.
And then it doesn't become like, oh my God, they don't value me. It just becomes about setting boundaries instead of getting all upset that people are taking advantage. Because typically we would say, yeah, I'll do the brand deal for the t-shirt. And then you'll be angry that you're not paid for your brand deals. But who's the one that said yes?
You.
Because you didn't value your own time.
And that's probably what they
Are banking
wow, that's
on.
kind of like predatory because
100%.
you see that in like everyone's Instagram. They post something and then some random new age brand is like clothing
Yeah.
brands like DM me, we'll give you
Yeah.
something,
Totally.
and like
Yeah.
I think I responded to one of those like one time, and then I was like hey, and then they were
Yeah.
like, oh, who are you? Oh yeah, got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really interested in doing a brand deal with you. So what we can do is we can give you 50% off of our clothing, and then
It's
you
so
have to wear
stupid.
it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, So you want me to buy your clothes to wear in my art? Like
Yeah,
I have
it's
to buy
crazy.
it still? Like you're not even
Yeah,
sending it to me. And like
yeah,
they're just like expect that. I'm sure
totally,
a few percentage of the people just are like,
totally. Or they wouldn't do it. Yeah,
oh, I okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
You know, it's
I
just
guess
like
this is how it works. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. Like how we perceive ourselves impacts how we handle situations. Like I had a deal yesterday. A company wants me to be an advisor in their company. And I met with my attorney and we worked out like what normal was, but something just wasn't sitting well with me. Like I just didn't feel good, even what normal is. So I had this meeting. I decided to just be myself. I decided to share with the people what was comfortable for me and what my attorney said, and to share with them that what my attorney said I'm feeling like about. And the response was, I'm so glad that you told us what was like really comfortable for you, because it would have really sucked if you worked with us for 6 months and became resentful that you're not getting what you want to get, but you agreed to it. So, like, we don't have to do anything because it's in paper and you signed off on it. And now you're in the situation where you're resentful and we're like, well, why'd you sign off? So
mm,
I was so happy that that I had the courage to just speak my truth, because now it's going to lead to something that feels really right and authentic to me. Or they'll tell me whatever it is and I'll say, good luck. I don't think it's the right fit, but to say yes to something because you're afraid of saying no, you're afraid of what you'll miss. And then if you feel like that yes is inauthentic for you, yeah, that's like it leads to resentment, anger, and not a good working relationship.
I have a person in my life that like they if like something good would happen to me,
Yeah.
instead of them feeling good themselves that I got some kind of success, that they'll be like they'll start to feel bad and kind of like display like a sense
Yeah.
of like resentment because
Yeah.
they haven't figured out what they wanted to do.
Right.
It's like, do you have any ideas on like how to address that in a way that's like values both of us?
I mean, first that you're even thinking about it is really powerful. Um, I think it's about having an awareness for yourself that maybe this person isn't somebody that is right in your life anymore. Like the whole saying, like people are in your life for a chapter, what is it, like a season, a chapter, I don't know, different periods. But before like writing someone off, I would allow space to show up honestly and vulnerably with them and say, like I love you, and so I want to have like a really a talk of something really important to me. I'm working hard in my career, as you could see, and sometimes it makes me feel like I can't share with you because I feel like I'm unintentionally hurting you, and I don't want to feel like I'm hurting you. Like don't make it an attack or a judgment on whatever they're doing. Make it all about how you feel, cuz like how can someone tell you how you feel? Like no, it's just how you feel. So it's like I feel like I don't feel seen by you, and I just wanted to talk to you about it and have an open conversation because you're really important to me and I value our relationship. Now, depending on how the person responds, if they get angry or defensive, it might be someone that's no longer the right fit in your life. If they're open to communicating, that could be like that they are, um in I think about I don't expect anyone to be perfect because we're humans and we all make a ton of mistakes. But I do expect everyone in the relationships I have to be willing to grow and to openly communicate. And I can't demand someone to grow. That's their choice. So if someone has chosen not to grow in their own life, that's fine, but they're no longer the right fit for me.
Mm, it's kind of scary.
It's a lot of loss. Like the big thing in this journey of self-love, the hardest part was like lose, like, the more I love myself, the more people who don't know how to love me are filtered out. And that's really hard because it's people who like I really love and who are important to me. But like, why in the world would I want people in my life that don't empower me and shine a light on me and like openly communicate? It doesn't even make sense. So no matter how much I love them or how long they've been in my life and how important they are to me, I want to be surrounded by people who like want to empower me and like are stoked for me and that openly communicate when something, we don't see something eye to eye and I could feel safe with. Because if I'm surrounded by those types of people, I show up to my speeches, to my work, to my other relationships with that much more vibrancy because I'm constantly having this inflow of vibrancy. And yeah, so that's been the hardest part about this like self-love journey is like discovering in uncomfortable ways who is not comfortable when I set boundaries, who is not, like who kind of retaliates and gets angry and things that just show me that like, oh, they don't want to grow or they feel defensive or oh, this was more about them than it was about a relationship between two people.
Do you find that you're creating an island socially for yourself, or is the person that walks out the door being replaced by another person that's like able to love you?
um I don't need to replace anyone. I need to identify who's there that's phenomenal.
Okay.
So it's not about,
So
I
you're trying
mean,
to create like a
that's
tight
it.
circle of.
Yeah, that's like my situation. Other people may not have more people in their life, and then they'd go out and make new friends that fall in line with their values. But like, I have like a ton of great people in my life, but I had a few people in my life who, took advantage of my kindness and my sincerity. And do I love those people? 100%. Like I miss them. I could think of someone right now that I totally love. Is it okay that they treated me poorly? No. Is it like, does it make them a bad person? Like in the situation I'm thinking about, no, I think they're hurt. And so they hurt me because they're hurt. They're not hurt by me. They're hurt by something else in their life, like their past.
Mm.
And the way they respond in life is they hurt people.
How much responsibility do you feel to help those people?
A lot, which is a problem, which is what I'm trying to understand that like they're not my responsibility. But that was really hard. But I'm an empath, so
Does
yeah.
that feel selfish?
Like you have to be selfish in order to be selfless. That's what my mentor says. So like um there's a difference between being selfish and setting boundaries and making sure you have a healthy environment around you. So I do not have space in my life for toxic humans, period.
Mm.
And if everyone in my life right now was toxic, I would want them to exit stage right and replace them with a set of healthy people.
Man, because there's someone in my life that like I feel like I'm like spending a lot of like, I mean, I care about this person like a lot, and but I
Mhm.
spend a lot of energy trying to make them feel okay on a day-to-day basis, because it just feels like if I'm not reminding them, then they can get really sad that like, like
Mhm.
trying to be like, you are loved, and they're like, well, am I? And then it's like this like back and forth, and then like
Yeah.
it just feels exhausting. But like I care about them so much, and I'm just like in this like back and forth of like how do I go about this situation?
I mean, okay, so this is both easy and hard. In my situation, I would love open, honest communication so that I could grow. Like if I was that person, I would love someone to tell me, you may not know, but here's how I'm experiencing this. Can we talk about it? Because our relationship and my love for you is so big. And then we would talk about it. And I'm a person who wants to grow. So I would like be so thankful that you were honest. A lot of people don't want to hear an honest conversation, unfortunately. So I don't know what to say in your situation other than making the choices. Is this how you want to invest your time and your energy? And is this creating more abundance for you in your life? Is it serving you in some way? Do you have a need in yourself that to be a caretaker for someone else? And so it makes you actually feel like you're a good person because you're doing this. So actually you're being selfish by doing it, because now you could say, look at what a good person I am, that it's not about them, it's about you. So like I said, becoming really self-aware is so hard, like so hard. In all my relationships, I would love like candid, radical honesty, because like the people that I have friendships with, I love so deeply. And if I'm doing something negative or toxic, I'd want them, like, it was perfect. One time, one of my girlfriends, she's had a really, I'm so grateful she was honest. She's had a really difficult life, like a really, especially last few years. It's like, I don't know, the worst bad luck ever.
Mm.
And I'd always like make this, I don't know if you call it this joke or observation or something, but I'd always kind of say like, I'd always like reference it. Like, I don't even remember how I did it, but it was something like, your life sucks, like we'll get through it. There was no like ill intent. It was like my intent in how I communicated was like I didn't want to pretend like everything was fine, because it's not fine for her. It really fucking sucks. So like I wanted to just be honest in the conversation situation, is like, yeah, this sucks. What are we going to do about it? And she brought it up that she didn't like she didn't feel comfortable the way I was saying it, because it was a constant reminder for her, rather. So
Mm.
my intent was to not sugarcoat things, but for her it was like this constant reminder, like it wasn't helping. And I had zero negative intent. She knew that, so she didn't say something for a while, because she knew I was coming from a loving place. But I'm so glad that she did, because I had no idea that I was communicating something hurtful, like, because it wasn't my intent. And when the second she told me, I can't even remember what I used to say now, because I haven't done it again. That was a few months ago, So, um, and that was a growth moment for me. She gave me the gift of allowing me to get to know her more so that I could love her more. Like, the more we share with our friends who we are and what we need, the more we allow them to love us. And if we don't feel safe sharing who we are and what we need, like, how strong is the friendship? And if the people we're friends with don't show up for us and communicate when we do vulnerably share who we are and what we need, if they get angry or leave us or whatever, are they really like our friend? Like, or is it even like the kind of friend that we want in our lives? Because it looks like, to me, that looks like someone that just doesn't want to grow.
But then I there is the, like, if they've, how much past pain justifies it presenting itself now, like you're like, you feel sorry because they might have had like a situation in their life that is damaging, or like
Yeah.
it obviously has done, I
Yeah.
mean, seemingly astronomical damage to
Yeah.
certain areas of their
Yeah.
emotional life. But then like how much can you be like, okay, I want to help you, and then how much can you be like, well, it's still on you, because then you feel like they
Well,
got
you don't have to
drawn
do
a
either
bad
one.
cards, and
Yeah,
then you,
you don't want to, yeah. You don't want to be either one. You're not like, how can I help you? Like, why do you have to be the person that helps? And it's like there's so much blame in that on both sides. It's just speaking your truth, just existing your truth and sharing that with someone else openly and vulnerably. It's like you're talking about the outcome. Am I obligated to help this person? No, you're not obligated to do anything. Is that what you would like to do? And if it makes you feel a certain type of way, do you have a safe enough friendship where you could just communicate how you feel? And say, I'm really confused because I want to love you and support you. And I don't know what it even looks like to do that in a way that feels good for me, because I've changed a bit, like, or I've like, and I really want to talk to you about it because I want you to continue to feel loved and supported by me. And yeah, I just want to have an open conversation of like what that can look like, and what is it that you need from me so you could feel loved and supported by me. Like, I'll tell you my friend the thing, what I need from that person to feel loved and supported by them. Well, an apology would be nice because it was pretty fucked up, like something they said. But I could even like live without the apology, but I just think like someone who doesn't want to apologize for that, that's like really weird to me. Um and then just open communication, like, I understand what I said was like really hurtful, and you did not deserve to be spoken to that way. And I was coming from here. And then for me to be able to say, like, here's what's up with me, and them to listen, and I listen, and they listen, and I listen, and they listen. And then there's a repair in there. But like the situation in my life, the person did something like very black and white, like not okay, and then ignored it. And it's just like, it's just not, it just shows me where they are in their life. It was very weird. And I miss them so much. This is a really close friend, and I miss them so much. Oh my gosh, every day it's like, but like, I simply don't want people in my life who are toxic. Like, I just don't. And who I was in December of last year is different than who I am now. Who I was in December of last year had a really low self-esteem, and I didn't even know how to have a higher self-esteem. Like, I didn't set boundaries. So who I am is changing, and maybe that person is no longer a good fit for who I'm becoming. And so like, I really appreciate that they were in my life, and we have all the memories that we've had, and I terribly miss them and love them. But like, I want people in my life who like empower and encourage me to love myself, and who would never even think to speak to me in such a vile manner. Like, and then not apologize. I mean, I understand people like burst out sometimes. Totally, we're human. But then to not apologize for it either is like super weird. So yeah, I mean, people are in our lives for a certain period of time, and hopefully a long time, but then sometimes, maybe sometimes people just need a break. And I look for communication and vulnerability. Like, those are my two core elements in my friendships: communication, vulnerability. Like, my girlfriend had to be so vulnerable to tell me that, because she had her own ish in her life. She told me she was so scared to tell me because of like negative stuff that's been told to her. So here she's so brave and courageous. And immediately when she told me, I said, thank you for being so brave and courageous to tell me what you need, because I love you so much. And now I know, like, she was so brave and courageous to like, when she thought whenever she spoke her truth, someone's going to get angry at her. So here she is. She's like, okay, this bothers me. I'm just going to tell her. I think I'm really safe in this friendship. I'm going to tell her. She tells me, and she indeed was totally safe in our friendship. She's like, I can't even believe you responded like that. I've never had someone respond to me positively when I tell them something. I'm like, oh, that's so unfortunate. Well, I'm glad to be that person for you.
That's powerful.
You know what I mean? And now she's probably going through her own, like, so then she sees there's one person in her life that responds to her in this like light and loving way. It's given her an example. And now she's probably like, what else is possible for me in the other areas of my life? Right. Because like, for me, what happened was I had a person that was really important in my life that I considered like a family member. They weren't a family member, but it was like that level, who did something like really not cool. I was really jostled. And my girlfriend, different friend, Cam, saw that this stuff was happening and just chose to like abundantly shower me with love. Like, it was great for like months. She was just like, I mean, she would drop off flowers at I mean, the girl is like, she's amazing. She's just like, I just need you to see that you are a lovable person. She's like, you are a lovable, because she knew I was going through this much pain from someone so close to me, that I was like, I'm not lovable, because if this person that is like so close to me has like treated me this way, I must not be worth anything. Like, I must totally not be lovable. She's like, that is false. And I'm going to force it into your mind. And for months, she was just like forcing it, like, that I'm lovable, that I'm like, what an amazing friend, like, And so because she set this example for me of what is that sound that's going on? She set this example for me of what's possible. It allowed me space to start to reflect on the other areas of my life of possibility and start to change my friendships and all that kind of stuff.
How did you overcome the fear of losing that person?
I don't think I overcame the fear ever. I think that I had to overcome an unfortunate situation. I didn't have to. I chose to overcome an unfortunate situation, and um and it just was what it was. And then having to process that person's in my life. But when that person's not in your life for an extended period of time, and you could see your life can exist without them in it, it's like they're already out of my life, you know? So it's like now, but the process of like, it just, I don't know, it really sucked. Like that whole process, like constantly wondering if they'll come back with love. It's crazy. Like the things people will do that are like not kind. It's so weird, but it like has nothing to do with me. Obviously, those people are going through whatever they're going through in their own life, and that they don't choose to communicate with me. Like if I show up and I communicate and I am open and I am vulnerable, and the other people decide to not communicate, to not be open, to not be vulnerable, and to not show up, there is nothing I can do about that. That is their choice to make. So me wanting to force someone into something it doesn't help anything. Like, you know, I can't. I just have to like respect that I like don't have control over other people. And like as much as I love a person, I can't make someone love me. Like I don't even want someone in my life that I need to make love me, you know? That's so inauthentic. It's feeding like a negativity, you know? I want people in my life who just like love me and like want to celebrate me, and I feel the same way about them, you know? And like my girlfriend Cam, she was like, "You are lovable, period." And I could see that you're refusing to believe that. So I am going to force feed it to you for months. And it was like wild. Like it was really weird. Such a weird experience. And it worked. Look, now I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, Cam
Yeah.
has got in my head that I am lovable. I get that that is a possibility, but I also get that I totally don't love myself. So let me start working on that now. You know, like,
Yeah. Oh
so
my
I could
God.
see what she sees. Is essentially what happened. She got me to see that okay, maybe I'm not seeing what's there. So now let me work on myself so I can see what she sees.
What a friend.
She's amazing. My friends are like my other girlfriend was talking about amazing. Like my friends are amazing. Like they're amazing. And the more I'm able to communicate my boundaries to see who my true relationships are, the better. True relationships will have no problem with me setting boundaries. People who have a problem with me setting boundaries are people who weren't there for the right reasons in the first place. Or like sometimes people may not like your boundaries, but if they communicate with you, that's fine, you know, and you like work out a compromise. Like that's friendship. Hope this is helpful. It's the most
Well, this
unique
is
interview I've ever had.
yeah, no, this is helpful. It's like we're in like a therapy session right now.
Yeah.
Oh, how, okay, leaving someone, right? Leaving someone from your life is going to put someone that you deeply care about in an absurd amount of pain. How did you
Them or
rationalize that?
me?
Them. How do you
Oh,
rationalize that within yourself?
I don't think I don't think they're in the same kind of pain that I'm in.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Maybe not in your situation, but like I was sorry, I was relating it back to myself in my head.
I think they're just thinking of their own whatever. I don't even understand because like if somebody doesn't communicate, I don't even know what's going through their head or like why they're doing what they're doing. It's so bizarre to me.
Mm.
For me, I feel like a loss. Like I don't
Okay.
like it's really painful for me. I think that they're so potentially like ego driven that like they may not even feel anything because all they could think about is their own needs and not communicating whatever their needs. I don't even know what their needs are, you know, but like if someone is only thinking about what's good for them, the chances that they feel any pain yet are probably lower because they're not being compassionate or empathetic to the relationship overall. Maybe. I mean, again, I don't know.
Yeah. Huh.
And all these relationships, I didn't tell any of them that I wouldn't talk to them again. All I did was state boundaries and state like
What did
things
you
like it's
do?
not.
Did you just like text them or like have lunch with them or like this is what I'm doing? This is my new wave. Like, are you
No,
gonna
I
hang
would
out?
say no, I would say I would say some boundary. It's all because of my boundaries. I would say some boundary like, okay, like let's say you couldn't talk at 3 o'clock, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
randomly. And someone's like, I want to talk to you at 3. And you just like couldn't. And you're like, oh, I can't. I have a meeting at 3. I can't talk at 3. Um, and they said, screw you. You don't care about me. If you cared about me, you would talk to me at 3. Your meeting wouldn't matter. And you're like,
Mm.
what? I don't know. Like, let's talk about this another time, but I have a meeting at 3. And then that just like spiraled for them. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. All you did was have a meeting at 3 and just
Yeah.
told them I have a meeting at 3, but they didn't like that. Because before, like the week before, if they said, I want to talk to you at 3 and you said you had a meeting at 3, you'd be like, all right, I'll cancel it, whatever you need.
Mm.
You know? So the second you start to set a boundary, as simple as that, it's like, wait, what is this? I used to be able to have like anything, whenever. And it's not even like you're not even saying anything bad. Like, it's like, bro, like, what's your
Oh.
ish? You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah. So that's pretty much what happened is I said something really like, like nothing, but it just was different. It was a boundary nonetheless. And it was just different. And I think I have probably had a lot of people in my life that were used to like however they wanted me to be. So the second I started to create my own identity of what I needed for myself, that no longer jive with them.
Oh. So it's not necessarily like this like conflict. It's just kind of like this is who I am. This is where I'm going. Like, you know, you I love you. You
Like
can be with
the
me.
last one was like super weird. I sent the person like a gift because they were struggling with something in their life. So I sent them a gift and they got like angry at me like after sending them a gift. It was like it's so bizarre.
Oh.
Like, it has nothing to do with me. I mean, maybe in their head it has to do with me because that's the story they've told themselves. But to me, it's just really clear. Like, I'm a really nice, open, loving person. Like, if you wanted to openly communicate with me, like I'm here, you know, that like
Uh-huh.
they could call me right now. Like, I'll pick up the phone, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
they're doing their life. And I don't know what
Oh.
that is because they they're in like aggro mode,
Aggro mode?
like aggression, you
Oh.
know? Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like the other one that I'd known forever, I just said, I don't know like what's going on with you. Like the person had lied about some things. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with you, but I'm not going to chase you. So whenever you want to chat, I'm here, but I don't have a desire to chase you. And yeah, that that uh that really didn't sit well with them, evidently. They needed to be chased. I'm not
Oh.
going to chase someone to love me. You know what I mean? You're like lying to me. Like, calm down with that. Like,
So do you think that notion in like there is a relationship like in a notion in like a romantic relationship that it's like cute for someone to chase the other person,
yeah,
like
I mean,
boys
these
chase
weren't
girls
romantic
chase girls.
relationships though. So I don't know, but these weren't
Yeah,
romantic.
yeah, no, I get
So
what you're
yeah.
saying. I'm like trying to like parlay it a little bit. It's like like, do you think that chasing, like, would you say that like chasing a relationship like romantically would be a bad thing to do, and like you should just kind of like let it happen
That I have no
almost?
idea. I don't know. I don't date, so I have no
You don't date
idea.
at all?
No, not very rarely. And if I were to date, I play zero games. So, I mean, you're asking the wrong person because I'm not like a dating expert and I don't play any games. Like, even if I've had everybody tell me that that's what I need to do, like play games or this and that, I'm like, well, then I'm not going to date because I'm just not, it's not who I am. I'm not going to become something I'm not. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not. Like, it's just that I'm fine. Like, like I
Mm-hmm.
don't need that. So if I meet someone one day and it's organic, great. It's not a concern. I want my business and I want my travel and yeah. But so I don't know about that dynamic
Sure.
because there's a whole science behind that and the chasing and who knows. And I think you're supposed to chase and I think that works from what I heard. I'm not interested in it, like yeah. And I think the guy's supposed to chase the girl and the girl's supposed to seem like she's not interested and the girl's supposed to kind of be a little bit of an asshole or something. And I don't know. I'm not good at it. I don't do it almost ever. And if I was in a situation, I wouldn't partake in the game part. So yeah.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I
I have to go soon because I
Yeah,
have
go
to go
for it.
to my
My
yeah,
dog
but
is
how
making an
should we
interruption.
Aw, that's okay. I like dogs.
What were you
Hi.
saying?
How would you like to like wrap up? Like, is there a particular way?
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
been
God, thank you
awesome.
for having me. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so glad. For you, I'm curious, what was the like what was the moment? I don't even know where this is going, nor do I care. If whatever you want to do is fine. But like, what was the moment for you that was most useful, I'd say?
Um, when you were talking about like having setting your boundaries, where like I'm doing this, um and like it's okay to just be like I'm doing this now and I respect myself doing this, and like it it doesn't necessarily have to be like I am cutting you out of my life. It's just like you allow them to come if they want, but if they don't, then they can choose not
Mm-hmm.
to. And I think
Yeah, that.
that feels like way less because I like I know people do that and it's like a thing to like, but like people sometimes frame it as like I cut this person out of my life, and I'm like, this always seems so toxic, but it's
It's
really just
so
like
yeah.
it's here if you want it. If you don't want it, then like you can do your own thing, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
I
The
took a lot of
the
value from
people
that.
I'm so glad. The people I'm thinking about right now, today, like I love them so much. Also, I happen to no longer feel safe with them because of the negative things that they've done, which is now, if they wanted to return into my life, that would now be something we would need to work on. Because if I even want to work on it, because I no longer feel safe with them.
Mm,
So, um, but I do not love them less. I just want to feel safe and empowered by my relationships, which I think is totally not too much to ask for.
well, thank you. It's been
Yeah.
awesome. It's been awesome having
Yeah,
you
it's
on.
been super. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been awesome. And I'm excited you get to hang out with your puppy after. Dogs are the
I
best.
actually
I'm
have
a dog person.
I have the neighbor's puppy over, and I'm
Nice.
actually dog sitting the other neighbor's 3 dogs.
Wow.
So we got 5.
A lot of
It's a lot
dogs.
of dogs right now. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyways,
Um,
you saying?
question.
Yeah.
Whatever you do with this is totally fine with me.
Okay.
This interview has been so different. If you're comfortable, I would love if you could send me like the file so I could just keep it for my private archives, because I feel like this has been like one big like journal conversation or something.
Okay. No, for sure. I
Yeah.
guess that's a
Yeah.
compliment. So.
Yeah, it's been like really interesting. But what you do with it or whatever is totally fine. But
Okay.
just for my private archives, I don't know.
How do
It will be
you
nice in December to like look back, like where was I at the beginning of the year?